Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is our post-Inspire video series with the aim of equipping you for the next step. You came to Inspire, you encounter Jesus, He unearthed some things in your life, and now maybe you're wondering, okay, what do I do with this? What's the next step? In the next few weeks here, we're going to release some videos where you hear, again, personal stories and testimonies that will give you the inspiration and the motivation and the tools that you need to go further with the Lord. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, this is Lindsey. Hi.
Hi.
Lindsey, you are like fresh on staff with us here at YWAM. You've been here for, you said?
2 months.
2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a quick snapshot on how did you end up here? Like DTS, what motivated you to do this? What's your journey? What's your story?
Okay, so I'm originally from Tyler, Texas, so I'm a local. And my school leader, Keith Van Dyke, him and his wife came and spoke at my youth group when I was a sophomore in high school. And I always felt a tug towards like serving God and living my life for Him, but when I was thinking realistically, how do you do that? You know, I was like thinking about careers and things like that, so it was hard for me to like picture my life being 100% serving the Lord, you know? And so when they came and spoke about YWAM and being a missionary, I was like, oh, it sounds too good to be true. And so I kept on with my journey of graduating and going to college. And then when I was in college, I was studying physical therapy, and I was about to apply for a program and was like completely invested in that, but I wasn't feeling peace in my heart. And so I was praying about it, and I was like, why is this not feeling like the rest of my life? And God was like, well, I want you to do YWAM. And you know, that confused me, but without hesitation I just applied. And you know, I ended up applying for Keith's school on accident.
You didn't know that?
No, I had no idea.
Amazing.
But you know, I did my DTS in the fall of last year. And
2018? 17?
Yeah, 17, yeah.
Okay.
And you know, it changed my life completely, and God did so much. And then, you know, He spoke to me during DTS, you're going to SOE, and then during SOE outreach, He was like, you're coming back on staff. And, you know, He put a lot in my heart about like serving Him and doing missions, and just the passion that He's put in me for serving others and for, you know, just missions in general. And like just started planting all these seeds that He slowly started growing. And so I came back. And
But go back to the DTS time. You said it changed your life.
mm-hmm.
Can you pinpoint some of the stuff? Like, did it just expand your worldview, your view of yourself, God? Like, what are you able to sort of say, hey, there's a couple things that really transformed my thinking?
I mean, I would say it was all of it. Like, it started out in lecture phase, and you know, I started like just my personal relationship with God. Like, there was a lot of healing. I had a lot of healing before I came. That was later, I realized, preparing me for what I was about to like step into. And so it was like God was preparing me far before I came. And
because He's good like that.
Yeah,
He prepares us
for
for things.
sure.
That's amazing.
And so when I started, you know, my DTS, it was like just all this stuff that I realized I had, like, you know, this like stress and hanging on to things, and just a lot of like brokenness from my past. I realized I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, and you know, He was slowly taking those things away. And you know, when we went on our outreach, it was crazy because you know, you think, well, I'm just gonna pour out, but there's a lot that He does in your heart when you're on outreach. So yeah, so He just started just like little baby steps, started like taking away and like putting in different things that He wanted. And yeah, it really did change me.
Another thing that stood out to me in your story is you mentioned, was it physical therapy you were going for? And then God spoke to you the whole YWAM route, and you obeyed, even though it wasn't quite what you expected at that moment. I just want to encourage you guys. This is Lindsey's story, but I want to encourage you, the point that she's making is the obedience. When you hear God speak to you to obey, because you can serve Jesus 100% wherever you are, right? You don't have to. Her story is YWAM and missions and full-time missions and whatnot, but if you're a physical therapist, maybe that's your mission field and you can do it 100%. or whatever it is. There's all kinds of different. The kingdom of God will impact everything. So wherever you are, whatever you do it 100%, but then be obedient to Jesus when he speaks, like Lindsey was, and then she followed his voice to this place here. But Lindsey, I have a really specific question for you. You're a young person. You're on this journey with Jesus. You're following him as best as you can. How do you keep this thing fresh? Like, there's so many different things that sometimes tug on our hearts. There's complacency that sometimes creeps in. Speak into that a little bit. Encourage other young people to hear this. How do you keep a relationship with Jesus real and fresh?
Yeah. So, for me, it's not so much about like, oh, I need to wake up every morning and have this to-do list of things that I need to do to keep my relationship with God. It's more like, okay, what are the things that I'm doing, and am I including God in those things?
Wow. Yeah.
And so, it's so easy to get caught up in the busyness of life and just, get caught up in the routine. Like, I feel like that was the hardest thing for me, is like, I never wanted to work the 9 to 5 and just, ride it out and get in that routine mindset. I always wanted to, like, have the mindset of like, first of all, I'm doing this for Jesus. And so why would I want to leave him out? When I first came back on staff, it was hard to find that balance. I immediately felt overwhelmed, and I was asking God, like, why am I feeling this way? And he's like, well, you're leaving me out. And I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to leave you out. I'm doing this for you. And so, just including him in those things, and even just like stopping and saying, okay, how do you feel about this? Like, it doesn't,
Wow, yeah.
Like, it doesn't necessarily mean like, sitting down and having like, okay, I have to have my hour of quiet times, and I have to read my Bible, and I have to pray about these things. It's like, sometimes we don't have time. We don't have the time that we wish that we had.
Yeah, right.
And so, taking the time to, like, even in the little moments, like, just saying, okay, God, like, I'm frustrated, or I'm tired, or I don't feel you right now. He appreciates the honesty, and he appreciates being included. And, I am sometimes the person that leaves him out, and I feel that, and I notice how stressed I feel when I'm not including him. And so,
because you're running on your own.
Exactly.
Strength.
Exactly. And I don't want to do that, nor do I have the capacity to do that.
Wow.
So, just including him in everything and pushing forward with him.
Yeah, I think what you said there was what stood out to me was stop. Once in a while we have to stop, reevaluate. Am I still on track with Jesus? Am I running my own race here, or am I actually partnering with Jesus? And that's so important. Guys, this is our encouragement for you today. Take those moments in the good times and the challenging times, or other way, in the challenging and when you feel like everything's going good. Just take those moments to stop. Jesus, am I with you? And are you with me? And just the source of my strength and courage. Just lastly, a question, Lindsey, is the whole courage deal for young people. I feel like we're dealing with pressure, external pressure, and sometimes pressure that we build in ourselves. All kinds of peer pressure and Instagram and blah blah blah, all that stuff that sometimes just like a storm hitting us. But the whole courage deal, I thought of Joshua, in the Bible, Joshua 1. In that chapter, several times God says to Joshua, did I not tell you? Be strong and courageous. It's like the charge from heaven. Do you have anything to say on this, like for your own life, the whole courage deal? How do you keep that going in your life? Being courageous in light of your calling and your vision. How do you walk that out?
I think one of the important things is to remember what you're doing and why you're doing it. God always puts a passion in us, and so often we can let it die down or get covered by the things of the world, the things that we try to carry, but remembering first and foremost that he's the one who gave us that, and obviously he wants us to do something with it, but also, having that momentum, and with courage you have to have the strength of the Lord, and knowing that your strength is from him, kind of what we were saying earlier, we can't carry this stuff by ourselves.
Right.
And like, we don't have strength without the Lord. And so carrying his strength with us, and like letting him be our backbone and letting him be the one that pushes us, I think that is everything.
Wow.
So like keeping our eyes on him, and like always having that vision, that passion in the back of our minds, and knowing like, it's easier to run towards the finish line when you can see it. Like, that's when you can really go, is like when you see it in your vision.
Wow.
And you're really just pushing towards the end. And it's easy to lose sight of that if you look away. So
that's right. Thank you, Lindsey, so much. That was deep. Guys, I want to encourage you. You heard her story. I think in the midst of it all, remember this: to stop. To stop and make sure that you're on track with Jesus. Especially if you're a young person with passion and energy and vision, it's easy to run away with it, to jump the gun. But so I want to encourage you guys, especially young people, hey, just plan this in your day. It doesn't have to be a to-do list like you're saying. Have you read an hour in the Bible, prayed that long? But have those moments of just honoring God by just stopping and re-inviting him and say, make sure, am I still on track with you? That's so important. Thank you, Lindsey, and God bless you guys.